The silence of the suburbs was a thick, comforting blanket, the kind where the only sounds were the distant hum of a refrigerator and the gentle rustle of leaves outside. It was just past midnight in the quiet neighborhood of Maple Creek, a place where everyone knew everyone, and nothing truly bad ever seemed to happen. But on this particular Tuesday, that comforting silence was about to be shattered by a sound so small, yet so profound, it would echo through the community for years to come. A soft, hesitant knock on the front door. Officer Miller, pulling a long shift and just about to settle in with a cold cup of coffee, frowned. It was far too late for a friendly visit. He moved to the door, his hand instinctively resting on his service weapon, a habit born from years on the force. Peering through the peephole, he saw nothing. Confused, he was about to turn away, assuming it was just the wind or a stray branch, when the knock came again, fainter this time, more desperate. He opened the door a crack, ready for anything. But he was not ready for what he saw. There, standing on his porch, was a little boy. He couldn't have been more than 4 years old. His feet were bare, blue and cold against the unforgiving concrete of the porch. He wore only a thin pair of dinosaur-patterned pajamas, completely inadequate for the chilly autumn night. His small body was racked with shivers, his face pale under the porch light, streaked with tears that had long since dried. His eyes, wide and filled with a terror no child should ever know, stared up at the officer. Miller's heart clenched. He immediately knelt down, his voice soft and gentle, trying not to spook the already terrified child. "Hey there, little guy. Are you lost? Where are your parents?" he asked, his mind racing through possibilities: a lost child, a prank, something worse. The boy just stared, his lip trembling. He seemed to be trying to form words, but only small, choked sounds came out. Miller waited patiently, his years of training kicking in, telling him not to rush, not to pressure. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the little boy raised a trembling finger and pointed back down the dark, silent street. He took a shaky breath, and in a whisper so quiet it was almost carried away by the wind, he uttered four words that sent a chill down Officer Miller's spine, a chill far colder than the midnight air. 4 words that signaled the beginning of a nightmare. He looked Miller straight in the eye and whispered, "Mommy is sleeping forever." The words hung in the air, a devastating pronouncement from the mouth of a child who couldn't possibly understand their full weight. Officer Miller felt the blood drain from his face. "Sleeping forever," he repeated softly, his professional composure cracking at the edges. "What do you mean, buddy? Can you show me where Mommy is?" The little boy, whose name they would later learn was Leo, simply nodded, his tiny hand reaching out and gripping the officer's finger with surprising strength. What unfolded next was a heartbreaking unraveling of events that plunged the peaceful community of Maple Creek into a state of shock and sorrow. Officer Miller scooped the shivering boy into his arms, wrapping him in a blanket from his patrol car before calling for backup. Guided by Leo's small, pointing finger, the police made their way to a modest house just 3 doors down, a house that looked just like every other on the street, with a perfectly manicured lawn and a welcoming porch swing. But inside, a tragedy had taken place. The front door was slightly ajar, just as Leo had left it. The officers entered a home that was pristine, almost unnaturally so. Toys were neatly put away, dishes were clean in the drying rack, and there was no sign of a struggle. It was the picture of domestic tranquility, a stark and chilling contrast to the scene they discovered in the upstairs bedroom. There, they found Leo's mother, Sarah, lying peacefully in her bed, as if she were merely in a deep sleep. But she wasn't sleeping. The paramedics confirmed what Leo had so innocently, so heartbreakingly, declared. Sarah was gone. At first glance, there were no obvious signs of foul play, no wounds, no disarray. It was a mystery that deepened with every passing moment. To the outside world, Sarah was a devoted single mother, a cheerful presence at school bake sales, and a kind neighbor who always had a smile and a way for everyone. No one knew she was in trouble. This Midnight Confessions episode delves deep into the story of Sarah and her little boy, Leo. It's a journey into a hidden world of secrets and danger, meticulously pieced together through the investigation that followed that fateful night. We will expose the quiet desperation that festered behind the closed doors of that perfect-looking house, a desperation that no one in her life, not her friends, not her family, and certainly not her neighbors, ever saw. The initial investigation was baffling. The autopsy report came back with a shocking discovery. Sarah had died from a lethal overdose, but it wasn't self-inflicted. It was a carefully administered dose, designed to mimic a peaceful passing. The search for a suspect began, but with no forced entry and a life that seemed utterly ordinary, the police were at a loss. Who would want to harm Sarah, a woman described by everyone as gentle and loving? The first clue came from an unlikely source, Leo. In gentle interviews with a child psychologist, Leo started talking about the angry man. He described a man who would visit mommy late at night, a man whose voice was loud and scary. He said the man made mommy cry. But Leo didn't know his name. He only knew that the man always brought mommy special medicine that made her sleepy. The pieces of the puzzle began to click into place, revealing a far more sinister picture. Investigators started digging into Sarah's life, peeling back the layers of her carefully constructed facade. They found text messages on her phone, messages she had tried to delete, filled with fear and desperation. They were from a man named Mark, an ex-boyfriend from years ago who had recently resurfaced in her life. The messages painted a portrait of a relationship that was anything but loving. It was controlling, manipulative, and terrifying. Mark had re-entered Sarah's life under the guise of wanting to help, offering financial support and a shoulder to lean on. But his help came with a price. He slowly isolated her, turning her against friends and instilling a deep-seated fear that prevented her from reaching out. He controlled her finances, her social life, and her emotional well-being. Sarah was trapped in a silent prison, and no one could hear her screams. The special medicine Leo spoke of was a cocktail of prescription drugs, drugs that Mark had access to through his profession as a pharmaceutical representative. He had been slowly poisoning Sarah over a period of weeks, weakening her, making her more compliant, more dependent on him. He was an expert in his field, knowledgeable enough to administer doses that would be hard to trace, creating a slow, insidious path to her death. The final moments of Sarah's life, as pieced together by the investigation, were harrowing. On that last night, Mark had come over. He had given her the final, fatal dose, disguised as her usual nighttime medication. He had tucked her into bed, kissed her forehead, and told her to have a good sleep. He then sat in the living room, waiting for hours to ensure she would never wake up, all while her 4-year-old son slept soundly in the next room. Once he was sure Sarah was gone, he slipped out of the house, confident he had committed the perfect crime. He had underestimated one crucial thing: the love between a mother and her son. He never imagined that little Leo, waking up in the middle of the night to find his mother cold and unresponsive, would have the courage to venture out into the dark, cold night. Driven by a primal instinct to find help for the person he loved most in the world. Leo, the little boy who knocked at midnight, became the key witness in a case that had none. His innocent words, "Mommy is sleeping forever," were not just a child's misunderstanding, they were an accusation. They were the truth that broke the case wide open. His testimony, delivered with the heartbreaking simplicity of a child, painted a vivid picture of the monster who had frequented their home and torn their lives apart. Mark was arrested and, faced with the irrefutable evidence from the text messages and Leo's gut-wrenching account, he confessed. He admitted to the systematic poisoning, to the psychological torment, and to the final act of murder. He claimed he did it because he loved her, because if he couldn't have her, no one could. It was a chilling, twisted logic that revealed the depths of his narcissism and cruelty. The story of Sarah is a devastating reminder that the most dangerous monsters are often the ones we know, the ones we trust, the ones who smile at us while hiding the darkest of intentions. Her death exposed the terrifying reality of coercive control, a silent, insidious form of abuse that leaves its victims feeling powerless and alone, often in plain sight of a world that fails to see their struggle. This case delivers a slow, devastating reveal of a mother's final months, a portrait of fear painted in the quietest corners of a suburban home. It stays with you, a haunting testament to the secrets people keep and the silent battles fought behind closed doors. It serves as a powerful moral lesson: to look closer, to listen harder, and to never underestimate the signs of someone in trouble, no matter how perfect their life may seem on the surface. Leo was placed in the care of his loving grandparents, but the ghost of that night will forever be a part of his story. He is the little hero who braved the darkness to seek justice for his mother. His journey is a testament to a child's unwavering love and a heartbreaking symbol of a life cut tragically short. Sarah's story could be anyone's story. It's a chilling wake-up call for all of us to be more vigilant, more compassionate, and more aware of the people in our communities. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic abuse or coercive control, please know that you are not alone. There is help available. Reach out, speak up, and break the silence. Your voice could be the one that saves a life. Join us next time as we explore another story hidden in the shadows. Subscribe now, and don't forget to turn on your notifications. You won't want to miss what we uncover next.